My name is John Blackwood. I'm the Director of Brand and Product Marketing for Fujifilm North America.
My name is Alex Nelson, and I'm one of the partners at Zero Optik.
My name is Sheldon. I'm a local 600 Director of Photography based out of Southern California.
My name is Brandon Talbot. I do photography and YouTube.
My name is Katie Williams, and I am a DP.
Hi, I'm Joey Fameli. I am the Director of Production for Adam Savage's Tested, the YouTube channel.
Adam Greene, I'm DP for hire currently, please.
I'm Phil Holland. I'm a director and cinematographer based here in Los Angeles, and we're at Cinegear 2026. I think from the exciting perspective of filmmakers, we have more lenses available to us than we've ever had in history. So I think that's both a good thing and a bad thing. I think we're at a saturation point because most people here don't even know what came out last week. So I think that's a telling thing of the times. I see very affordable equipment. I also see a fairly large gap to fairly high-end equipment here. So I think there's a lot of segments to be explored for price points and solutions for us creatively and technically.
One of the gadgets here at the show floor at Cinegear that's grabbed me is a lightning rod about how the industry is and how it's doing is the Sigma autofocus Cine Zooms. As call sheets get smaller, as the crews get smaller, you can click into autofocus and still get the job done. But if you're on a bigger show and you have someone pulling focus for you, you have those 0.8 pitch gears so they can do that job for you if you need it.
I'm gonna say Eddie, the AI editing software that does all of the rough cutting for you.
Well, I think what I've seen today that would showcase how the industry is shifting is the new Sony camera with the 65 sensor in it, because we are shifting towards larger sensors, which I'm not mad about.
I feel like I'm seeing the gap between, a lot of gear was focused on like the content creators ecosystem at some point, or some years it was a little more focused on the larger production oriented stuff. I feel like I'm feeling that gap sort of shorten a little bit, and I'm seeing a lot more unity between those two worlds kind of collide. You're getting a lot more professional style production gear while also being very accessible to creators from every end of the spectrum in terms of production style.
There's been some really cool lighting stuff, like affordability wise, that makes me feel like the industry, that part of the industry is pivoting more towards YouTube creator, small market creators, stuff like that. There's more accessible prosumer stuff that I noticed a lot. Kane's tied? How much time? So yeah, maybe the overall shift is just like towards that more small budget creator place. That was way too many things.
That's a great question. My feeling has been that it feels like there's a lot of optimism right now, which is really great. It feels like, last year was a bit more difficult. We were here, the community was together. I think people still obviously believe in motion imaging and the potential of it in the future last year. But this year it feels much more tangible that, we're really starting to come to terms with, where filmmaking stands, and that the future is bright with it, and that, we're seeing a lot more solutions, a lot more products this year, I feel like too, than last year, that are really making people excited and really inspiring people to tell stories differently. We're really excited specifically about, we are being Fujifilm, about the category of 65mm format. So there's a lot of different solutions we're seeing across the board from different vendors. We're really excited to see what that means for filmmakers.
What I've seen on the floor of the show that feels like the truest sort of representation of the industry right now was a piece of pizza that was upside down. Man. Ooh, actually, I don't even know if it's a product, but I saw a guy running around the show with a remote-controlled Fernie dolly, and having been a prep tech, I would have loved to have one of those back in the day.
That's a good question. Wow. I mean, I don't want to like say the same answer effectively, but again, I think it's just the community. I think it's just seeing people come together and just sharing the experience here. What's really great is just the conversations you have. Because you learn so much together exploring this new technology. Obviously, I'm here with Fujifilm, but it's so fantastic to go to all the different vendor booths and just collaborate and just talk to people about what options come to life when you just think about the whole ecosystem of filmmaking, and not just the products, but the people and the ideas and the imagination that everyone has, the delivery formats, like everything, right? So not to use the same answer effectively, but I feel like that still is what rings true to me.
My deep question, Batman. This is a personal thing where I think it carries its weight, no pun intended, is a ready rig, because it saves backs, which gives you a longer career.
I feel like I saw a little more emphasis on the physical well-being of a lot of camera operators, whereas, you know, I've dealt with physical therapy from holding cameras. We've seen like their ergo rigs and the easy rig stuff, but there was like a presence of ergonomical solutions that I saw in a bigger number this year in terms of, you know, giving camera operators and giving creatives a much more healthier version of their workload. You know, there's a lot of conversation now about like the 12, 14-hour work days and shortening those down. So hopefully there's a little bit more of a health-oriented version of this industry that is being has a spotlight shown on it. And I feel like I saw a little bit in this.
I think right now we have really powerful camera technology at almost every price point. So there's really nothing prohibiting you from making any sort of visual content, whether it's a movie, YouTube series, whatever. What I think is kind of nice is the accessibility. I do think sometimes that comes at a cost in terms of performance and durability. So what I'd like to see, and I think is necessary, well, tripods are always necessary. I'm gonna be the guy that does that, but we have a lot of really powerful small cameras that can be easily stabilized for one-man band filming, and that's great.
My take on, you know, equipment justifying its existence is, does it leave your shelf? I get very antsy when stuff is sitting there. I'm not taking it out into the field. So for me, the only gadget that makes sense in all of Cinegear is the one that you're using on a day-to-day basis. And if you're not using it, you're thinking about it. And beyond that, it should be making your life easier on set. If it's making it more complicated, then what is that doing in your equipment bag? And that's how I approach all technology in film and television.
I don't know, because a lot of it felt like brands justifying their existence, where it was like a lot of brands were doing very similar things. Like I saw a lot of, we were just talking about before this about the Ceramonic mics having the local recording, and that has just become a standard. So I feel like I saw a lot of that where I was like, oh, everyone's doing the same standards. I don't know if I have a great answer for that.
The answer to that would be the Cine Lens manual, because that is a need, and you can't replace a historical book like that. It's never going to go out of date because you need that information, and it's my favorite thing here. Yeah. I mean, what really comes to mind when I think about who I've seen here would just be the friends. It's a slow time, and what really gets us all through that is community. So to just see the people, remember why we're all here, and have that genuine connection. Yeah.
My favorite part was hanging out with my friend Kenny, who got to introduce me to all sorts of people in the industry that he worked with. The Zero Optics, Alexander from the Zero Optics team, a bunch of folks that I always thought were like bigger companies or maybe worked in a bigger corporate environment that I got to meet and see that this is actually like a small operation that is really focused on the details and really getting these things right. That was kind of cool. I saw those through all different booths of Cinegear this year.
This is where all my friends are. Like this is the only show I'm ever stoked to be at besides maybe the Lens Summit in Portland.
I ran into Ed Lockman, ASC, earlier today. He always makes me stoked to be in this industry, creator of the L Zone, just an incredible cinematographer, just dozens of just impeccable looking films. So yeah, I fanboyed out a little bit over Ed.
Dude, I mean, I know he's cool historically, but like Michael and the Strata stuff is so, like, it's like software is never fun at a convention. Like it's such a lame thing to have to like demo to someone and get excited about and like actually understand and listen to. But like the Strata stuff, like Michael does a crazy good job of demoing it, and like in a way that I was like, oh, I'm just gonna sign up for this when I get home.
Yeah, a couple people. Yeah. I used to work at Panavision, so Guy McVicker was in the booth. I love Guy. Guy's an incredible human, wealth of knowledge, and really good dude. So him. Michael Cioni swung by the booth, saw him. I love him too. He's a really great guy. He's super smart, really always thinking 10 years ahead. And really, again, same line of conversations with the community. Really great person to really just know how to start conversations, whether they're difficult or not, just how to start conversations and think things through. And then Oren Sofer came through the booth, and it's always a pleasure to see Oren. So yeah.
Yes, I'll give you two amazing answers. So I come to Cinegear almost every year, and what seems to be the noticeable trend is a lot of the vendors have coffee at their booths. And there's a man who used to be the barista and manager at a coffee shop that's been closed since the pandemic, and I haven't seen him in 6 years. So when I saw him at a coffee shop that I went to almost weekly, I was super happy. On the industry side, yesterday, I ran into basically every crew member I worked with in the last 5 years. And when I was driving home at the end of the show yesterday, I had this like really warm feeling, and it was such a nice one.
A bunch, actually. Dan from Atlas, wonderful human being. Every time I'm around that guy, it's inspiring, and I just leave knowing that I'm in the right place, doing the right thing. Things are looking up.
Ooh. I think that text would say, like, cautious optimism.
I think some of the things I've been saying publicly for a while is digital is still moving towards the format flexibility as motion picture film. So we're having all the format sizes represented, and now the latest trend for a little while now is medium format cinema, digital cinema, and we have new cameras there. We have really accessible anamorphics, which really satiates that market. That's a lot of the new stuff that's really exciting talking to people here. And I'd say if you haven't seen that stuff in person, it's always nice to get your hands on things like that to see what it can do. Also, it is interesting to see a purely electronic anamorphic lens from Zeiss. That is probably the most bold move that a major brand has done in our industry in a minute. And I think it's very useful in some ways, but it's going to be challenging for some people to wrap their heads around it and others. For me, I always like to look at the potential of the tools and how they can be used. So that's pretty exciting to me.
You know, people in this industry, we're artistic, right? We're generally, I think, optimistic people. We're collaborative. I think we're fun at parties in the film and television industry. And for those who couldn't make it out here, I think I would text them that, like, look, spirits are high. We may not be working as much as we all want to be, but we're taking a lot of meaning out of the jobs that we are able to do. And that's been very exciting to see. And just seeing everybody here connect as part of a community is always just incredible to see. Just a reminder that, like, look, we're in this together.
My last Cinegear was in 2021, where I was at the convention center, where it felt a little more dour. I felt like people were, the energy level wasn't there. People were not working as much. I did feel like people were generally excited to be around each other, but also excited to talk about projects they were working on. There was a lot more activity and talk around shoots and jobs and shows that they were either wrapping, gearing up for, or finishing up. And that was kind of exciting to hear that much work talk with that much enthusiasm again, that I haven't seen in a long time, if ever.
I think I would just tell them, like, hey man, there actually is something for you here. And I mean that more genuinely than I have in the past. And the way it sounded negative before, I mean that positively, because, like, yeah, I would talk to my YouTube creator friends or people that do like music videos or smaller kit built stuff. And I'm like, no, there's stuff here that I think would actually interest you and improve your overall setup. Like this year more than normal. Like it felt a little more we got something for everybody.
Says the future's bright. We're figuring it out. Like things are coming together. It's a really exciting year for, I think, theatrical movie and theatrical. And I think that's really going to influence and just remind people that, making a movie doesn't have to be $200 million venture. It could be something that's tangible, accessible, and we could tell stories that help inspire people to keep thinking ahead, and especially in reflection of our times that we're going through right now. That's what filmmaking is really great at doing, is kind of holding up a mirror to society. And times right now are different than they've ever been. They always will be. Times will change, and I think there's a real realization here that the future is bright. That's a long text, but what are you gonna do?
The text would say it's exhausting. I can't go 5 feet without seeing anybody, but that's why I also enjoy it. Yeah, it's exhausting. There's a lot of us here because the industry is so slow. But we're together. Cue the High School Musical song, we're all in this together, and yeah, it's beautiful.